What's up, guys? We're ranking Spider Man films because nothing is more controversial than ranking Spider Man films. Okay, maybe that's an exaggeration, but still, we have all 10 of the live action Spider Man movies. I'm not counting the Venom movies, by the way. They're all mid anyway, so I don't count those as Spider Man movies. I'm gonna be real. Because Spider Man's not in them. So how could they be Spider Man movies? But anyway, let's get into it. First up, we got the OG original Sam Raimi Spider-Man, the very first one. We're gonna put this at A tier. This could be an S tier, but I hadn't watched this in a while, and I remember this being an A tier film. Green Goblin is a very great villain in this film. And just like it's a very hard film to dislike. Like I don't see anyone having a problem with the original Spider-Man. I know a lot of people this might be their favorite film out of all the Spider-Man films, but personally, I'll put it at A tier. I just think there's something better than it, but it's still really good. Next, we got Spider-Man 2. Now, when I said there's films better than the first Spider-Man, I'm talking about this one. Incredible. Spider-Man 2 is incredible. There's no debate about it. Um, to be honest, yeah, man, like I don't know what to say. Like this probably is one of the most iconic superhero films of all time. The train sequence where he's just trying to hold on to the train by webbing up the buildings and stuff. I mean, that's just iconic, man. Hands down, deserves to be S tier. And also, it made the main character struggle and create a very unique supervillain. You know, Doc Ock was great in this film. I really enjoyed it. Next, we got Spider Man 3. We're going to put this at D tier, unfortunately. It was such a sour way to end the Raimi trilogy. But, studio interference happened, and it definitely is felt in this film. Apparently, Sam Raimi didn't want Venom in here, and it kind of showed because Venom really did make the plot a lot clunkier than it needed to be. And I feel like if the film focused more on Sandman and Harry Osborn, their stories along with Spider-Man, then I feel like the film could be potentially up to here. I don't know if it would be better than the first two still, but I feel like it would be better because it would be a more focused story. Um, so it's gonna be at D tier. This film is also probably the most iconic one if you're looking at memes. I mean, I feel like that's a good or bad thing depending on whether or not it's I don't know, man. Like, is that a good or a bad thing? If a film is known for memes rather than the actual plot, you know what I mean? I mean, I know the plot is well known too, but the memes are like the number one thing about this film. So we're gonna put it at D. And yeah, next we got the Amazing Spider-Man. We're gonna put this at B. To be honest, this is a very underrated film. I feel like it was a little unnecessary to do an origin story because Spider-Man is probably he is probably the most iconic superhero, right behind Batman, or just as equally as iconic. I don't know, but the point is, everyone knows Spider-Man's origin story, so another origin story kind of feels repetitive. But this was a good film. Andrew Garfield did great, um, and yeah, it's pretty underrated. I thought the Lizard was an interesting choice for a villain, not necessarily the strongest one in the franchise, but it was an alright villain, you know. It's a good film. I have nothing much to say about it. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I'm gonna also put at D tier. There are no F tiers, by the way. I think all these Spider-Man movies, not everything is bad. And to be honest, I feel like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 aged better than I thought it did, but it's still very clunky, and there are a lot of things I dislike about it. Especially since they put too many villains in there. And also, I feel like they should have just made a more personal story with Peter and Gwen, and then maybe throw in Harry in there as well. Uh, how everyone was introduced, the villains and stuff, it wasn't really as strong as it could have been, and I just feel like this film has a lot of potential, and it ultimately failed. I thought maybe they would have learned their lesson from Spider-Man 3 into not crowding too many villains, but it is what it is. The suit for this film, though, the Spider-Man suit, is probably the best live-action Spider-Man suit we've gotten, and I stand on that. Like, this suit is incredible, but it is the probably the worst live-action Spider-Man movie. But still, it has some things that I really enjoy about it. Um, Next we got Spider-Man: Homecoming. We're gonna put this at B tier. I don't think it's at the same level as the first Spider-Man movie, but it's a pretty good film. Tom Holland does good in it. The Vulture's a really good villain. That plot twist, him being Liz's dad, is great. And overall, yeah, I like Homecoming. Very rewatchable, fun Tom Holland film, and yeah, I got nothing much to say about Homecoming, to be honest. It's just a fun little introductory story. Introductory, is that even a word? Yeah, it is. But I'm trying to be as fast as I could when I'm making this video. But yeah, Homecoming B tier. Next, Far From Home. I'm gonna put this at C tier. I know a lot of people might be confused why I'm putting this at C tier. When this movie came out, I remember it getting a lot of love, and if when it came out, I'd probably put it like here. Like I, at the time, I enjoyed it more than Homecoming, but now I understand why people dislike it. People dislike it because it made Spider-Man feel more like he was turning into Iron Man Jr. rather than his own character. Mysterio, for as great as he is, and the sequences where he's fighting Spider-Man and all those illusions were sick, dude. Incredible. Like, I watched those, my eyes were just glued to the screen. Mysterio's always been one of the most interesting villains to me. And to see him on live screen, it would be cool to see. And it was, you know. Those sequences were probably the best parts of the film, to be honest. But that being said, he's more of an Iron Man villain. And they kind of set Spider Man up to be Iron Man Jr. rather than his own character, which is why it doesn't really age that well. And I feel like that's why it gets a lot of backlash. But it's not a bad film at all. Just not a great Spider Man film. It's a good MCU film, not a great Spider Man film. That's what I gotta say about it. So, Far From Home will be at C tier. Next, we got No Way Home. This is either S tier or A tier. Excuse me. Uh, I'm gonna put this at A tier. I'm gonna put this at A tier. I don't think it's better than Spider-Man 2. When I first watched it, I'd probably say this is the best Spider-Man film, no debate. But I don't know. Should I put this at S tier? You know what? Actually, yeah, I'll change it. It's S tier. It's S tier. The reason I'll put it at S tier is because it's just what it did for the MCU. Not just for the MCU, but just it's so cool to see the three Spider-Men in action and all those villains come back like we've never seen them before. Um, the plot, I feel like it's overcomplicated by a lot of people. I didn't think it was that confusing at all. Um, and yeah, it was a pretty good film. I'm not gonna lie. It was nostalgic. A lot of people complain that it was just fan service, but to be honest, it's if it's fan service that works, I don't think there's really a complaint. So I don't think that's a valid complaint. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, No Way Home should be S tier in my opinion. A lot of people might say it should be A or even B tier, but I think this is a really good movie. And the ending was very good for Spider-Man's character. I think out of all the characters in the MCU, Spider-Man's future is the one I'm the most interested in. So we'll put No Way Home at S tier. Uh, Into the Spider Verse is another S tier, and I think is the best. I think is the best Spider-Man film. This and well, we'll get into this one later, but these films are insane. I remember watching Into the Spider Verse with no expectations because it was a new character. of Miles Morales, so I didn't really know much about him. But the animation looked cool, and I watched this film in theaters, and my goodness, like this film just blew me away with the animation, the score, the story, and it completely embodies what Spider-Man should be. And yeah, man, Into the Spider-Verse is incredible, dude. I think these movies are going to change the game for real. So I'm putting this at S tier. And we got Across the Spider-Verse. Come on now. This film, I don't even need to explain why Across the Spider-Verse should be S tier. When people talked about this being the greatest animated movie of all time, as much as I liked the first one, I didn't believe it, and then I saw it, and then I understood. Because this film just, oh my god, it's fan service, but it also explains the multiverse in a great way, and the villains are crazy as well. Spider-Man 2099 is such a great antagonist, and there's really like a good conflict in there as well. Um, this is also probably the most visually beautiful film, maybe even ever, to be honest. Like at least in animation, it definitely is. It's better than the first one, which is crazy to even say. But yeah, man, Across the Spider Verse. I want to see this film again. To be honest, like this film is so good. But anyway, guys, that's it for my video. Um, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I've been talking a bit faster because I don't want to like be super slow when I'm talking. I'm a very slow talker, so I'm trying to just speed things up a bit. And I hope you all enjoyed. Take care. Peace.